3, 2, 1. Hello, hello. Welcome back. We're here yet again for another week of Say Something. Super excited to bring the show to y'all today. As always, a good old Tuesday, which means there's been another week of sports. Means there's more stuff to talk about. The Olympics have fully kicked off, so there's a bunch of medal talk. You know what I mean? We got a good little update on everything going on with all the different countries, as well as what's going on with the United States specifically. We're going to go over a little bit of good MLB talk since the MLB just had its trade deadline. There's lots of moving pieces, lots of stuff going on. We'll have a little context for you guys on the Warriors. We'll have a little conversation about some NFL talk, and we'll also give you guys a further, more in-depth update on NCAA football 25, what's going on with it, how we feel about it. But before we do any of that, we got to do the tradition. As you guys know, I hope you guys take the time as well to look to your left and right. If you have anybody with you, check in with them right now. Take that time because we're going to do the same. So, Mitch, let the people know how you doing today, man.
What's going on, everybody? Hope everybody's doing well. I'm doing good. My knee's been messing with me a little bit, but got to go hoop the other night, so back into it. Glad to be out there. Glad to be over here, ready to talk, do some more sports talk, man. Happy to see all y'all. How about you?
Chilling, man. I'm, really just kind of at this point getting ready for school to start in the fall, so kind of getting the mind right. My summer class is in its last 2 weeks, so kind of dealing with the finals and just dealing with that first bit of clearing out and getting A's, so I can get my mind right, ready for the fall, make sure I continue all of that. And then just trying to keep my gym regimen up. So it's been really about like, okay, what can I do to make sure that I'm going and to, continually try to find a spot, even if my schedule changes a little bit. It's like, okay, where am I going to place this? How am I going to be flexible enough to make sure it doesn't leave my schedule?
It's tough, man.
Yeah,
tough. We get busy out here. So
it's
tough to mix in the gym, man, especially when the body gets tired,
For sure. But as we've seen the benefits of that over this last year, last 2 years, really, for me, it's like a habit that I just feel like at this point, I cannot lose it. It's done a lot of great things for me, and I can just see where it's going to keep going. Not only that, but then I just feel better, So I'm excited to keep going. And, maybe we'll end up switching gyms down the road. There's been some weird stuff going on in my gym lately, and not even with me really, but there's just been some incidents with girls where like one of our little lifting homies, she ended up dipping out because she had a little incident in the locker room. It's East Oakland 24-hour fitness. So they now have also shut the gym down due to fighting.
No basketball.
Good job, fellas. Glad you guys are all playing for contracts like we thought originally. So the gym is in tough shape. Not to mention, I got on a machine today that was croaking like one of those far left wings in the hospital. Like we're talking about straight death. So I've been thinking about it lately. Like, man, do I just go Planet Fitness? There's one that's pretty close right here. Not even to promote gyms. I'm still on my cheap gym membership type hype. So, that's the only reason I'm saying those names, because those are both the cheap options. But other than that, man, like I said, I've been really enjoying the rewards of working out. So regardless of where it's going to be, it'll be implemented into my regimen and into my schedule. So let's get right into what we got going. I almost just stumbled over it because I'm so just excited about trying to figure out my workout schedule. Kidding. But we got U.S. beating Serbia in game 1. We had a lot of talk last week. We had a lot of talk about the build-up going up to this game. We were definitely talking about concerns we had while also kind of reeling back on that and also being real about the fact that no real competition has truly happened yet. So let's kind of pump the brakes until we see what really happens come this first game versus Serbia. So why don't you break down? Obviously, it was a 110-84 ass-kicking, butt-whooping, straight spanking, however you want to say it. So why don't you break down a little bit of what you saw and what we can say now moving forward as we head towards South Sudan, which is our second game.
Yeah, I would say I wasn't too worried about this first game against Serbia. When we were doing the friendly games before, we were kind of serving them the whole time. I think we won by 20 plus.
Right.
So I think that team is just, honestly, if Bogdanovic is not going to show up for them, I don't think Jokic has any help on that team.
Yep.
He kind of just seems to be running around by himself, tossing the ball up, and anytime he gets the ball, he's trying to shoot it. So I think for them, it was an easy win for us. I'm interested to see how we do against South Sudan and who we decide to play. The way I want to see it kind of go down since KD came back, had a very strong game, 8 for 9, was killing it for us, basically showing why he's a top 5 scorer, number 1 scorer for the USA team of all time. So I like seeing him fresh off injury. You know, he's a certified bucket getter at all times. That's one thing you know about him, and a guy who shoots a lot of long-range twos. Since the three-point line is now closer in the international game, he's getting his shots for threes, which is something he doesn't do as much in the NBA game. So moving forward, the things that I would like to see that I feel like I've kind of been harping on is starting off with Steph, Jason Tatum, who didn't play in this last game. Steve Kerr said he maybe
1 minute
should have played him, kind of just made a mistake there or just had a reason to keep him off for that game. I'm not sure.
He's going to give us 50 next year.
Right.
Just to be clear.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean,
regardless of how Steve plays him now,
right.
He's giving us
Steve,
50.
you're not helping yourself right now. You're not making yourself look very good right now.
He's giving us 50.
Here's a little help for you. So starting off Steph, then Jason Tatum, then LeBron, KD, and AD should be your starting 5 moving forward, in my opinion. Off the bench, it should be Drew Holiday, Devin Booker, Anthony Edwards, Bam Adebayo, and Joel Embiid. Should be that second squad coming in with Tyrese Halliburton and Derek White sprinkling in whenever you need them. If guys are not feeling as well, they could be reserve players for them. That's how I see it going. That's what I think are the rotations that'll bring the most cohesiveness. I think with Steph, LeBron, KD, they kind of know when to get theirs. I mean, LeBron has been absolutely killing it. And for the second squad, I think Drew Holiday brings great defense. And he's somebody who's more of a facilitator, who can move the ball around for somebody like Embiid and get him involved with the offense with shooters and cutters like D-Book and Anthony Edwards. D-Book has been showing this Olympics that he can get a bucket whenever he's pulling up from everywhere cushion. So I like those 2 rotation squads for the USA moving forward. And I think we just need to step it up from the get-go and try and just step on their throats early against South Sudan to not give them any kind of confidence.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I personally think that it'll work against South Sudan for playing us so close in that other game. I don't think we're going to overlook them at all. And I think that normally we probably would have.
Yeah.
And I think because it was that close, they almost beat us. They could hear everybody laughing. I was getting ready to hit the floor. I don't care if it's a friendly. I don't care what it is. I don't care what's going on.
My boys ain't even got a gym.
You bring that team out there. You bring the team we brought out there, bro. We should be beating the Monstars in Space Jam. Like, I'm not trying to hear nothing about Wenyan Gabriel. Or I don't care. I don't care who they brought. Does not matter. And I don't even care if you gave them that ball from Space Jam. They gave them the juice. We're on that. We still winning that.
Still.
Yeah. So. No, I think that it's going to actually, be a disservice to them. I think we're going to blow them out. I think it's going to be very early an onslaught. And I think that we have enough depth to where it'll be hard to get bored. Yeah. I think if Steve Kerr plays it right, it'll be hard for this team to get bored because you can always put in a Derek White, right? And a Tyrese Halliburton, who may not be getting a lot of burn, or whoever else is kind of falling out of rotation depending on whoever they're playing against, right?
Yeah.
So real quick, I just want to say Jokic, I think I already said it, 25 and 8. KD, 23, 8 and 9 from the field. We have LeBron James, 23, 7 and 9.
Taking over.
My boy's damn near 40 doing that kind of stuff. We don't know what's happening. Somebody's got to figure out what kind of machines he has in the house. If he's freezing himself every night, we got to know. But this is like on Magic Johnson level.
He's
like surviving AIDS and surviving Father Time. These are like 2 things where I'm like, bruh, we gotta know.
How did they do it?
Before you get up out of here. Before you get up out of here, we just gotta know. Do it for the athletes all around. Do it for the people all around. Let us know how you did it. And Steph, last but not least at all, given a nice 11, 3 and 3. Very efficient, 4 from 8 from the field, not getting a lot of shots, 3 for 7 from 3. So shooting from exactly where we know he can shoot from and will shoot from.
Yeah.
I think he'll continue to get more use. I think as LeBron kind of calms down here, I think LeBron is going 8.
Yeah,
and I think that, rightfully so. I think that he's trying to put his stamp on this. I think he wants a documentary about it. So he's given moments that are worthy of a documentary.
Might not have any more high stake games like this in his future. It might just be some regular season games.
Well, real talk. So, when you look at it like that, I think that he'll put a couple more games out, and then I think, as we go forward, some of these other guys are going to have their moments. I think Steph will be one of those guys. I like what you said a lot about the starting lineup. For me, my only question would be, where KD should be, just because I think KD is so good in this format of basketball that the question becomes, does he alone make our second unit almost as deadly as our first if he's there? Which I think should be in consideration if that's the case, if we feel like that could be the truth. Yeah. Just because I do think that second unit, it's not that they lack a scoring punch, right? Like you said, they have Booker, you said they have Ant. But, having that true direction of an offense, I think you get that when you have a KD out there and a place to start with the ball. So I think that could be up for debate. In terms of where he could be best used as, because I think he'll get 20 anyway. So I think no matter where we put him, he's going to get up. So before we move on to anything else, I wanted to bring up a last-minute add to this, which is the whole Kawhi debacle. I don't know if you've been up on what's going on, but, LA Clippers released a statement saying, hey, we really wanted Kawhi to play. We had no intention of pulling him out. It wasn't on us. So USA Basketball, don't be throwing smut on our name, saying that we called Kawhi out, and we're frankly disappointed with the situation. And now Grant Hill's been kind of caught looking crazy, answering some of these questions and saying like, well, he's getting caught in between saying, yeah, we kind of let him go, or we kind of had a mutual decision that it was best for him to rest. But now it's basically come out that it's crystal clear they moved on without Kawhi, and Kawhi was ready to play, and he was good to go. And it's also made even more clear with the fact that KD sat out the whole beginning with an injury, and they allowed him to stay. So what do you think about that? What's going on with that?
I don't really think too much of it. I mean, there's guys like Jaylen Brown, Jalen Brunson, other guys who could have been on the team who
got snubbed.
Snubbed. I mean, Kawhi, if you were really so gung-ho about it, like, you should have made that clear, because I think if you talk to Grant Hill and those guys, unless you didn't say anything, like, they got to give you a reason, right? I mean, unless they just, like, texted your man or your agent and were like, yeah, you let him know that he's not on the team anymore. Like, they had to tell you what was going on, Kawhi. So, I don't know. You're always injured. I don't even know why you really needed to play in this Olympics. I don't think, one, he was necessary. Be a nice addition, but why even chance it with the kind of injuries you get? So I don't see too many problems with him not being on the team. Maybe people could have handled it better, but I mean, business is business. You got to move on. Go play for the Clippers. Don't worry about this USA stuff. Like, just move on past it. It's already over.
Right. Yeah, he's definitely heard about it. I mean, I feel like him deciding to play in the first place is atrocious. I think, you missing the end of your playoffs and your end of your season, and then thinking, I should go over here and continue playing basketball in the off season. And you guys lost Paul George. So your workload's going up. You're going to, in order to get to the playoffs, Kawhi, you're going to need to play for real. But I do think it's sloppy on USA's part. I do think that you brought him, and then to let him go is giving me Isaiah Thomas vibes. And from what I've heard, it's a lot more about the fact that, I mean, one, definitely, like you said, I don't know if they need another alpha scorer. I don't know if that was necessary on this roster. But even further, I think Kawhi's a loner. I think that, this is a Hollywood script. This team is a Hollywood movie. And I think LeBron and them, just like Jordan, I think they got a lot of say in this stuff.
Mm.
And I think when they look at this roster, they want it to feel good, right? And I think nothing against Kawhi directly, but I think he's one of the guys that when you looked at the camps and you looked at the moments where the teams are having fun on the outside of stuff, he's never present. Or he's that guy who's dull on the side, walking by, not even knowing he got caught in the photo, right? And so, I think that kind of stuff matters. I think the reality is when it comes to this level of basketball, when it comes to getting guys like LeBron to sign on after 2 Olympics being absent from, I think there's real handshakes under the table that happen. Same thing, I believe that's the case with Joel Embiid. I believe he'll start no matter what because I believe that already was a deal set in stone.
Yeah.
And, they're good enough where they'll just play him 11 minutes. They'll treat him kind of like Bogut, where it's like he's starting, but he's just starting off the strength. He's starting to make it look good, and he's starting just because we know you're probably starting a big year 5. But we're going to get him out of there real quick, and then once the rotations are really going, you're not going to see much of my boy, right? He played 11 minutes. You know what I mean? In the last
he hasn't
game.
been playing that well, so he hasn't even been
4 points. You know what I mean?
It's been rough for that guy.
Definitely. But I think that they're reflecting, what they've seen with his struggles into how they're doing the rotations now. And, Steve Kerr, please just get Jason Tatum into the game. Don't bring more on to us. We have a rough season coming as is. Please don't taunt these superstars. You already got Anthony Edwards talking about what you did on draft day. There's stories out here about you, my boy.
Looking good these days, Steve.
My boy. So, look, just get these dubs, man. Make people happy, right? But, the whole, oh, damn, I forgot he was on the team thing. Too much. You are asking for that. Jason Tatum is the type of player, he'll sleep through half the season. You just woke him up. Anytime he comes to us, the alarm clock's on now. I mean,
put up 50 next game, Tatum.
He's going to give us 50.
Go, JT.
There's no question about it. So I just think it was sloppy. I think that it could have been handled better, but I think it really, if anything, shows the true battle of powers that be within the world of basketball, within USA basketball specifically.
Yeah.
And I think Kawhi, more than anything else, got the boot because he's not fun to be around. And so, Kawhi, New Balance. Oh, and also I think Nike plays a part in this. Where I think that, if you look at some of these branding things, don't want to do too much of this. You know what I mean?
That's true.
But my boy was Nike before. You know what I mean? He's moved off it. He's went to New Balance. If anybody knows the background,
get the bag.
They had a lawsuit over the logo, the claw, right? Nike won. And we all know Kawhi was able to prove that he drew that in the 8th grade.
Yeah.
He had a drawing of it. And Nike's big and bad. And, the reality is they know how to play these games before they're even playing it. So they already knew what was going on. But if you don't think those kind of things, there was, real settlements having to happen over this stuff. We have millions and millions and millions of dollars on the line. And if you think companies like Nike, who fund USA basketball, if you think they're not paying attention to what's going on and, the slights that happen from certain athletes towards Nike,
right.
I think we'd all be, ignorant to overlook that factor as well. And everybody they brought in as well is Nike.
Real quick, though.
Jaylen Brown is also not Nike.
Did play a part. Why is Ralph Lauren still am I tripping? Are we looking fashionable at Olympics, or why is Ralph Lauren still the sponsor for?
Oh, I think that's just.
I was just
it's just a traditional.
We're just wearing jeans and shit.
Yeah, it's nasty business.
Other places are looking hella dope, and we're just
yeah,
blue jeans with a blazer.
It must be a contract
like that. I don't understand that.
Yeah,
we were looking hella boozy in my opinion.
I feel like it's just, we must be on a 10-year contract.
Right?
Waiting for it to come out.
It's been like this for a minute. We just rock the same thing every year.
US, we don't always look the best, but we trying to get the medals. So once we take off them nasty jackets and them jeans, we ready to go.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, let's transition right on into US soccer. Okay. After a little bit of nasty behavior in game one, a little bit of where am I? They got spanked 3-0 by France.
By the hosts. You know, the hosts. They was ready.
Who arguably are the favorites in this, but they were able to come back, get their bearings, back on straight, get back on track by beating New Zealand 4-1, which, I think that they played very well. I mean, I think at the end of the day, they're finally getting more from their two center backs who finally it looks like, okay, I get the reason that you bring overage center backs to really anchor a defense. In that first game when they're getting dookie on, it looks a little crazy. When those are it's like, well, we're not going to get any attack.
I mean, that's like a blood closet,
boy. And even in FIFA, that'd be a bad matchup.
Right.
So you look at we got a lot of better play out of Mihalovic, who is our other old guy, who ended up playing terribly as well in that first game. And also this guy Kevin Paredes has been real big for us, who's actually one of our big KP. He scored 2 goals actually today.
There we go. That's what we need.
Yeah, and he had another one in the 4-1 victory over New Zealand. So that's 3 goals in the last 2 games. Really been stepping it up. Obviously got against France because we got against France. So ain't nobody getting on the score sheet. But then a 3-0 victory following the victory over New Zealand via a lovely game with Guinea.
Okay.
And at the end of the day, we need to win these.
Sound like we dominated these 2 games?
Both games. Naby Keita, who is like the best player from Guinea, who arguably shouldn't be out there in terms of come on, guys. But I will say, France bringing Lacazette, like there are some people where I'm surprised. I'm like, oh, you guys
we want gold, baby.
You want to win this. Yeah, you're catting off. And I'm like, oh, you want to win gold too as the player. I'm like, you're surely catting off for I'm going to take my summer to come shit on some 21-year-olds. Dog, talk about a self-esteem booster. Lacazette, I'm looking at you, bud. But I think that they deserve to advance. They're finishing second. Obviously, France swept the group, 0 losses, and I don't think they got scored on. So
looking like heavy favorites.
If we end up playing them again, we'll need more from our center backs, to say the least. But they've played well, done everything you can ask after following that first game, and then now they're in the quarterfinals, which for U.S. soccer is a big deal for the Olympics. Yeah. We're not the greatest roster with our best team, so then imagine if we're using a
we
more
just seen
selective
that in Copa
roster.
America. We just seen how that team performed.
Absolute Duke Mendistan. That should be the renaming.
Yikes!
Just the whole country when we go play soccer, Duke Mendistan, because it is nasty.
It's rough out there for us.
But just a little bit of other updates on U.S. talk. We have Simone Biles and the rest of the gymnastics team
getting gold.
Give me that.
Very nice, ladies. That's what I like to see.
They're on their redemption tour, and redemption mission complete. Redemption has been had. Also, sadly, we had Coco Gauff, the young tennis star, getting upset by Dana Vecic. I think I said that right. The Croatian. Sorry if I said it wrong. But congrats to you. Obviously, there was some issues with how they felt the game was being managed in terms of being, I don't know if it's refereed or umpired or however they want to call it. But officiating was not appreciated by Coco Gauff and her team. So there was a little crying, a little kerfuffle going on the court during the game before she ended up finally taking that L. But she's still in the doubles with Taylor Fritz, I believe it is, and they won their first one. So
still got a chance.
Coco. Let's go, Coco. Win something. We're here
Stay
for
strong.
you. Yeah, we're here for you. You got it. And then just a quick medal count update. Mitch was quick to point out we are absolutely not in first with the gold, so let's be freaking clear here. However, we are in first in total medals. So I'm just going to give you guys a top 3 quick outlook, and then a honorary 4 because of just how dominant they are right now with their golds, right? So we have USA, gold, 4 of them things. Silvers, 11. We like silvers. Bronzes, 11. So second and third place seems to be our ting-ting.
Come on,
Katie Ledecky. That was supposed to be a G,
You know better
I don't need an S or a B. I need a G, right? So in total, we have 26, but with 4 of those being gold, the percentage of that, not high.
Let's step that up.
So it looks like right now we're big fans of Michael Jordan because 2 and 3 are our numbers.
Yeah.
And until that changes, I'm going to have to say you guys must be rooting very hard for Team Jordan. France, we have in second. We have gold. They have 5 silvers. They have 9 bronzes. They have 4. In total, that makes 18.
Mm-hmm.
China in third. They have 6 golds. They have 6 silvers, and they have 2 bronzes. That'll make 14 in total. Efficiency. And then, like we said, our honorary 4, who Mitch shouted out immediately because he already knew they were out ahead of us and out ahead of everybody else in golds. That is Japan sitting there pretty with 7 of them things, 2 silvers and 4 bronzes, 13 total medals. So more than half of their medals have been golds. When we talk about gold efficiency, that is why you've earned an honorary spot on our top 3 Japan.
And they just played a very good game against France and took them to overtime in basketball.
After Rui Hachimura gets 2, and I'm telling you right now, some of these FIBA rules are just grotesque. Yeah. These are disgusting ways to lose top-tier talent. Mm-hmm. Rui Hachimura goes out on unsportsmanlike play, and it was, I mean, guys, like, yeah, sure, he didn't go for the ball, but in the NBA, these are regular fouls. I am not used to seeing these being looked over in the way that they were, let alone a player being kicked out of the game. So he was removed from the game. If you guys don't know who Rui Hachimura is,
going to work.
Plays for the Lakers. He had 26 points at the time being removed. He was probably the best player out there just in terms of his performance on the day. And so to remove a guy like that for 2 very suspect foul calls, man.
It's tough to see.
You hate to see it decided like that. You hate to see it decided like that. So next we have, like we promised you, as always, our MLB Hot Corner, which Mitch is going to take and make sure you guys are fully up to date because it was a lot. What a doozy of a day.
Yeah, man.
The deadline was today. We had some trades building up to the deadline. So a lot of moving pieces and some stars on the move as well.
Definitely.
So tell the people what's going on. And if you got any fantasy news as well, I'm sure they're listening.
Yeah, man. I mean, no fantasy this week. We got a lot going on with the trade deadline ending today. Just want to get you guys updated on how teams are doing and how this trade line is going to affect them moving forward in the wild card race as well.
Yep.
So still at the top of the AL East, we got the Orioles with the Yankees just half a game behind.
That's close.
AL Central, we got the Guardians on top of that with the Twins just 6 games behind. Astros on the top of the lowly AL East. We got the Braves right behind the Phillies. Phillies number 1 team in the MLB, tied with the Guardians. The Brewers and the Cardinals, it's only 7 games behind. And then the Dodgers are going ahead of the Padres by 6.5 games. And then we got the D-backs just behind them with 7 games. So a lot of close races, still about 55 games left. And today, like I said before, we have the trade deadline. Lots of big moves for teams who are definitely trying to move forward and make a playoff push. A lot of them can be a little bit more like, who is that guy? I'm not really sure who that is because there were a lot of like relief pitchers that were also traded as well as some all-stars. But a lot of these relievers will be guys who will solidify the bullpens for these teams trying to make the playoffs. First big trade we had Randy Arozarena from the Rays to the Mariners, along with Justin Turner, 2 big hitters that they're trying to bring over. Julio Rodriguez has been hurt recently, so they need some bats. They're not a very good team at contact, so adding 2 more guys who have been to the playoffs, who are known bats, really going to help them make a push to try and overtake the Astros in the AL West.
Because they have a really good pitching staff.
They have a really good pitching staff. They got Logan Gilbert. They got Brian Wu. They got Luis Castillo. So they have really good pitching. They just need their hitters to catch up with them. Bryce Miller. Yep. Bryce Miller's out there too. So hitters got to keep up with them because they got guys who have Cy Young stuff. Next, we have Jack Flaherty going to the Dodgers, bolstering that starting pitching rotation. They now have Tyler Glasnow. They have Walker Buehler coming back. Hopefully, Yamamoto will be coming back soon.
Right.
Big starting 3. That's going to be great for them because they're hitters. I mean, hopefully they get Mookie Betts back as well. But Shohei Ohtani, Freddie Freeman have been killing it for them. They're going to be a team now adding another guy who could really shut it down and give a good lead in a playoff run. Next, a smaller name, we got Tanner Scott along with Jason Adam going to the Padres. 2 relievers who have been great for their teams that have not been doing that great, now going to a team that's really trying to make a playoff push. Is going to be the Padres and trying to make it with the Dodgers, looking more like a wild card push. I don't know if they're going to make a chance at getting at the Dodgers. They seem like the team that's going to run away with the NL West. So hopefully these relievers can help solidify going in deep into games and just holding it strong, winning those close 3-2, 4-2 games. Another good name, Eloy Jimenez, who's been having a rough year going to another team, the Orioles, who have a lot of guys, but this adds another power bat to their squad that they can use as a pinch hitter or just somebody to platoon in the outfield in case somebody else goes down. Another guy from the Giants going back to his old team, Jorge Soler. He's got to go back to the Braves because they need some outfielders to hold it down. No Acuna for the rest of the season. Michael Harris has been a no-show with a bad hamstring. Who knows when he's going to come back, and if he does, how long he'll be able to stick around. So they need to add another big bat. We always also have Yusei Kikuchi going to the Astros to help their rotation that's really been struggling. They're trying to build and have a strong second half. Verlander hopefully can come back, be strong for them. They have Luis Garcia hopefully can try and make a strong second half.
Right.
Hopefully Christian Javier. I mean, all these guys are just a bunch of maybes right now.
Yep.
Guys who have been good in the past that they're hoping could come back strong in the second half. Alex Cobb, Lane Thomas, another San Francisco Giant leaving. Alex Cobb, OG, going to the Guardians, the team that's in first place, tied for the best record in the MLB. Just adding some veterans who can really just add to their lineup and to their rotation just in case they need another guy if one of their starters goes down. Another big name, Jazz Chisholm Jr., going from the Marlins to the Yankees. This outfield is crazy. He's kind of like a utility guy. He can play at second. He can play third base. He can play outfield. So anytime the Yankees have somebody struggling at any of those positions, they can just throw Jazz in there, and he's going to do his thing. He's played 3 games for them tonight and last night, 2 home runs each game. So he's already showing his worth for their team. That's going to be crazy seeing Judge, Soto, and Jazz Chisholm in that outfield. He's also going to be somebody who's going to be stealing bases for them. So that's going to be exciting to see for them. And then last but not least, I just want to say the Cubs went out and got Isaac Paredes for Christopher Morel. Basically kind of like a player for now and giving away a player that could produce more later. Christopher Morel is a great player that was playing good for the Cubs, but he was just batting .199 this season, had 18 home runs, and somebody who maybe in a few years can be somebody who's an all-star type player. But Isaac Paredes right now is more of a consistent hitter, somebody in a different position that they needed, and I think it's going to be a better move for the Cubs to try and win now. Last but not least, we have a 3-team trade. We have the Cardinals, Dodgers, White Sox. The Dodgers get Tommy Edman and Michael Kopech, a great reliever, hard thrower that can really shut it down for the 6, 7, 8 innings just to get to their closers. And then the Cardinals get Eric Fetty from the White Sox, another great starting pitcher that's going to be great for them. And the Cardinals get a reunion with Tommy Pham coming back to their outfield, which leaving the White Sox last place team getting Miguel Vargas, once a big prospect for the Dodgers, hasn't really panned out, has been having a solid season this so far, so he's going to be somebody exciting for the White Sox moving forward. But other than that, we just have not Tanner Scott, but that's it. That's it for our trades and during the trade deadline. I think a lot of these will be helping. We had the Phillies get some guys in relief to try and help them through the end of the season. They're another top team in the league. I think they're going to be solid all the way through and really be a top team to make the World Series this season. So that's our MLB roundup. Hope you guys got all the info you could get from the trade deadline. Let me know who you're excited to see, which moves that you were happiest about, and who did you wish got traded? Was there anybody that you wanted on your team that didn't get got? Let us know in the comments, all right?
For sure. And for fantasy, since a lot of relievers got moved, just be on the lookout if you had certain closers. They may now be lower in the pecking order. That happens a lot at deadline time. You see some of these lower teams with their closers end up becoming still high leverage, but not going to be that real shut the door guy. So just be aware if you have a Tanner Scott, if you have one of these guys, you may want to go check the notes. He may no longer be looking towards 19.
He might be more of a hold guy instead of a save guy.
Exactly. Tanner Scott also was an all-star this year. And they got quite a haul for him, which was pretty shocking to me. And, you know, looking at the different trades, it was interesting to see the different values of how teams, you know, put, you know, these valuations on players and what the return is for different players.
I feel like it's the most random out of any sport because of all the minor league teams. You just are trading people that nobody's even heard of for guys who are former all-stars, you know?
Yeah, literally. So, yeah, man, thank you again for the Hot Corner. As always, you guys know he's going to keep you the most up to date. Baseball has always a lot going on, you know what I mean? So don't stress trying to follow the league yourself. Just come tune in. Mitch has got you. Next, we're going to jump to the NBA. You know, we already talked a little bit about Olympic basketball, but it's only right to discuss a little bit about our Warriors. News has dropped through all the trade discussions that, you know, the two biggest pieces of news in this past week are, one, that Markkanen apparently would like to stay with the Jazz. So it looks like, you know, whatever that means in terms of, you know, I mean, at the end of the day, this is all chess talk anyway. And, you know, I worry about Markkanen in general in terms of would he want all that pressure? You know, because I want him to want it. But I'm just saying, like, when you actually look at where he's had success, it's pretty much only come in situations where it's like, hey, we're not tripping, dude. We hope for the best, man. If you're good, you're good. If you're not, you're not. So when I see things like that, you know, it just makes me wonder because you're not going to be in line with the rebuild. All the guys you're playing with are like 20. Yeah. You know, so like by you saying that, what is the real purpose other than maybe saying you're ducking smoke? You know,
don't duck the smoke. Come on, Larry.
Right, because you know we're gonna give you that same money, the extension, all that stuff. So, you know that was big news this week. I'm gonna personally call BS on it. You know, I just think at the end of the day, more leverage for a guy who all three parties are looking for leverage. Yeah, Lowry is, Jazz are, we are. So I just think it's another chess move. But the other big piece of news was the Warriors have, you know, come out publicly, or sources close to the Warriors, saying that we value Pods over Kuminga. How do you feel about that? Do you agree?
I mean, clearly they see some things in Podziemski that they like. I think only things that you can't really like about Kuminga is his IQ so far. He doesn't really seem to understand how to position himself in the game or how to get his yet. Still extremely young, but I think Podziemski's just more of one of those like 3-4 year guys out of college who kind of knows the game a little bit better. Definitely doesn't have the same kind of athleticism, but has a little more courage to go out there and get his, be more aggressive. I don't think Kuminga has much of a package in terms of how to score different ways. I think he needs to be more in control personally when he's going at the basket and just approaching the game. I think he's great on defense. I think Pods is good as well. When Podziemski's getting more rebounds than Kuminga, that's a problem to me because I think Kuminga could be a guy who would start everything from a rebound. I think he can be like, you know, maybe not LeBron-esque, but like in the sense of I'm going to get the rebound, I'm going to drive all the way down court, and I'm going to take it all the way. He has that kind of athleticism. He just seems to be a little out of control right now. He's just like a young gazelle out there with legs going everywhere rather than just being more under control. I tend to, you know, not be able to understand how guys can't make those kind of adjustments through off seasons, especially if the coaches are telling you the main focuses that you need to focus on. Nobody's worried about how well you can dunk. We know you can do that. So kind of perfecting your game in other ways. Hopefully he's able to do that. I think with the athleticism, he's the better prospect, but Podziemski right now might just be the better overall player. So maybe that's why we value him more. Maybe that's why he's a better option or pick in terms of trade option. But I think it's just interesting that they're deciding to come out and say these things because what's the objective or like what's the end goal with coming out and saying these things when the season's going to come up soon and we don't seem like we're making any moves. So just kind of unsure with the moves that we're making and why we're letting out certain news, but not actually making moves with no action behind the words.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with a lot that you've said there, and I think a part of it is fluffing. I think a part of it is business, right? So I think a part of it is knowing that Kuminga is already a wanted commodity, recognizing that people want pods as well. But, I think when you look at it's just good business when you look at our approach, where it's just like when you're looking at two set of goods and you already know that one doesn't have to sell itself, comparing the other one that kind of does have to sell itself to the one that's already sold and being like, nah, we value this more is only going to up the value in everybody else's eyes of the thing that maybe now is sold in everybody's mind when it prior to this comparison was still a question mark. So I think that there's that piece to it. And then I also think there's the piece where pods is just a better fit right now to the way we play, right? And I think that we're known for having one of the most complicated offenses in the league. We're known for confusing guys. We're known for having also one of the more confusing defenses. But just in general, you have to have a high IQ to play for the Warriors.
Yeah.
They ask a lot of you. There's a lot of motion, a lot of movement, a lot of being in the right place at the right time. Otherwise, the play is off. And, I believe that Pods, like you've mentioned, is a guy who, within that system, with what we need, is a guy that can get more done quicker.
Yeah.
And a guy who I think skill set is more defined. So I think that he will rebound more than Kuminga for his whole career, I believe. And I believe that's because Pods will be one of the best rebounding guards in the game. But I also think that a lot of that has to do with the fact that in our system, he's going to be placing himself in the right spots where we commonly see Kuminga kind of like, where the hell are you at? And I think that we recognize that as an organization. And then you add in the fact that he's a backup point guard, essentially. He's a guy that will be at 6'5", still be able to handle the ball, still is willing to take on the challenge of guarding somebody. He's not scared.
He gets burnt, though.
And he took the most charges in the league. You know what I'm saying? Which is huge. I mean, that's and super hard for a player that young to be not getting called for blocking. Shout out Wiseman. Right. So I just think when you look at that as a combination of the two, you're just upping the overall value of your goods, your trade assets, while also being real about the fact that we are a weird team and we need certain things from players to actually be successful. And Kuminga has a ton of them, but maybe the mental right now is better suited on a team that's just going to let him run free. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So
I think there's only three options. We're either going to get plugged and have a great trade for us where we absolutely win. Yeah. Or it's going to be a super underwhelming move that's not exciting at all, or we're not going to do anything. Yeah. And we're just going to run with these guys. And, I mean, unless we get that plug and that splash pick, in a trade, I'm not seeing too much excitement in terms of getting new people.
Yeah, the more I see it, the more I think we're just going to run it with this team. Yeah. I think that if the right trade were to come up, I think we'll take it. But I think the more that we're looking at this roster and the more that we're looking at how the West ended up shaking out, the more there's a realization that, like, whatever moves available may not even put us at the top anyway. So the reality is we should see how good this team is. We really haven't given that much of an opportunity to in comparison to other teams with players from their draft class. Yeah. We have not let nobody lose. No. We've been like, we don't even know who you are still. It's like dating a stranger. You know what I mean? And it's like, I think that a lot of those, especially Moses Moody, like, he's one of these guys where I'm like, bro, either trade him, bro, or put him in. I'm tired of seeing this whole slander on a guy who, it just gives me nice guys finish last vibes. And I'm not with that. I'm not with that. I want Moses Moody. I'm big Moses Moody in the game. And I'm actually becoming more and more tied to the storyline of us improving from within. And we now do have some great assets on our team. If this guy Post can be anything near what we've got from Trace Jackson Davis,
that'd be great.
Dog, and so we're starting to actually build a core again of players that we can move forward with. And so why not give them the opportunity? And why not see if we've seen around the league, it's not like there aren't young players who are really contributing to top tier teams.
So of those young guys, who's gonna get to play? Who are we gonna put in? Because we do have Buddy Hield, we do have D'Anthony Melton.
Oh, well, I'm big both of those guys.
So you know what I'm saying? But it's
both of those guys.
That's two more people that are gonna be options to to play. So who's starting then?
I mean, I would start. I mean, obviously, I think that they're really serious about starting Pods. You
So
know what
Steph,
I mean?
Pods, Andrew, Draymond, and who?
Well, they're saying Kuminga at the 4.
Okay, Kuminga and Draymond.
And Draymond, which is the smallest team in NBA history, but like apparently that's where Steve Kerr
Remember when
sees.
it was Steph and Clay and KD and
Right. But like apparently he sees Kuminga as a 4, which is very interesting. I find that to be very interesting. And I can definitely see him guarding above his height and his position, but I wonder what else goes into that thought process in terms of, how is he looking at that?
So if that's our 5, who's coming? Who we got off the bench?
So I mean, then off the bench you're
Buddy.
looking at Buddy's off the bench. You're looking
D'Anthony.
at D'Anthony. You're looking at Moses Moody. You're looking at
Trace.
Well, he better be high up off that list.
That's 4
We're
already.
looking at Gary Payton's still there.
GP.
Know,
that's 5 guys. That's another 5.
Yeah, bro, that's a lot.
I mean, if we want guys like Moody and Trace and these young guys and Post and these young guys to get minutes, man, it's like
and then there's
Post.
Be tough. Then there's Post too. Yeah, Post probably won't get a lot of burn this year, but I mean, I think that GP will be used sparingly. I think he'll be kind of like that Leandro Barbosa, obviously not offensively, but just kind of on the vibe of like, when we need you, we need you. And we have an expectation that you'll be ready regardless. And then I think everybody else has to have higher priority. I think that we got to look down that list and just recognize if we're not good enough to truly compete, then we got to take the training wheels off, because we're not going to compete by like hoping Melton is way better than we thought. We're not going to compete by being like, oh, Buddy Hield really is worth scoring.
Well, he should. I feel like he should definitely be a 6 man though. Like,
I'm rocking with Buddy.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm loving the addition.
But I feel like it has to be like
sleeping on that.
I feel like it has to be Buddy, Moody, Trace, and then D'Anthony.
Yeah, in order.
But I mean, like, I feel like they're gonna put D'Anthony in a bunch.
The thing about D'Anthony is D'Anthony can play smaller. So I do think that D'Anthony will be more looked at. Like if they
as
do
a guard,
it right,
you think he's gonna be point.
Oh, for sure.
Okay, I'm down
for sure. So I do think if they play it right, there should still be minutes for those 3. Like for real.
I mean, it's been the issue since they've been in the league is we have fucking Jeremy Lamb, or who was it? What's his name?
Yeah, I forget his name.
Anthony Lamb. We're gonna play him instead of Moody and Kuminga and why? Like what? Come on, bro.
Right.
Anyways, it's just one of those situations where it's like, why are we playing a guy who really doesn't have a future when we're not sure about our lottery pick?
100%. I mean, that's always been Steve Kerr and his little, I provide, an entire approach to basketball that requires you to
some
be
kind of
smart enough to deal with me, kind of thing. But yeah, I mean, I think that we just got to let it go if we're going to go in with this roster. And there should be enough minutes for those 3, like especially with the loss of Clay, with what we chose to do this offseason. And if we're not making any other moves, it should be crystal clear that we've cleared space, similar to what the Giants just did. Hey, man, we're not going to win it all this year. So bring all the youngsters up. Let's see what's going on. Clear space for everybody. That
Guy Santos, come on down.
You know what I mean? Come on down. Let's see who can contribute. Let's see who's got to go. Let's see if somebody can create trade value for themselves, whatever the case is. So that's my hope for this next season. Steve Kerr, if we're going to go in blank like that, shoot blanks, let the young horses out, man. Let the V12s go. Yeah, for real. Enough of that. You know what I mean? On to the NFL and the NBA, like we said, as we transition further towards the season, we're going to really bear down and get going. But as of now, I feel like we gave it all we got for that section. NFL, a little more to talk about. We have Justin Fields starting over Russ, potentially. Big question mark there. I'm not a big Steelers fan, nor do I care about either of those quarterbacks. So this is more of just a, wow, this news has come out recently, and we haven't heard a lot about QB battles.
Is it just me, or is there a lot of Bay Area Steeler fans, though? I'm not going to lie. I feel like I know hell of people
the Steelers are
from around here are Steelers fans. I'm like,
the Steelers are one of those organizations similar to the Cowboys.
My great-grandpa was from out there.
It's similar to the Cowboys, where it's like, I got a jersey when I was 4, and it really meant something, even though I didn't know what team it was. But then once I got older and I looked back at that photo, the jersey was long gone, but I got a photo of it.
So I've been a fan.
And when I chose sports, I saw that photo before I turned on Sunday football. There was Big Ben.
Mm-hmm.
Life was changed forever. That's how you get to fandom in one of those. If you're not from Pittsburgh, that's how you get to being a Pittsburgh fan. Same thing would be said with the Cowboys. Oh, I got a cake for my 6th birthday that was gray and blue, and so took it as a sign to be
like these Niner fans.
A part of, now you're going too far. Because I was going to throw the Raiders in there too. I was going to throw the Raiders in there too. I just wanted
it's 2016.
I just wanted to dress up late for Halloween.
Say I win the candlestick when really I was never there before it got taken down. So damn,
I'm gonna let them cap.
Can't name nobody besides Joe Montana and Jerry Rice, but
I can name thousands of Niners. I'm just playing, not thousands, but I can name a good 50 Niners off the street. You know what I mean? Without even going into it. And I know a lot of my Niner faithful, the reason we call the faithful is because you can do the same thing. So don't worry about what he's saying. It's too late for Halloween. We all know why they show up to go be a part of that little black hole. And if you know what a black hole is, nobody makes it out of those things better. You know what I mean? A black hole is just endless. You're done. You're gone. No more of you. Big L's.
Come back.
Big L's. So imagine naming your fan section a big L.
That's what we do to other teams.
That's basically
what they never come back.
You just named yourself a big
get rid
L.
of them.
Well, it seems like the Raiders ran through that black hole because we ain't seen them since. So,
hey,
you know what I mean?
Come and make a playoff push this year with an Aiden O'Connell.
Shout out to all the fans, but we know why. We know why. We know why everybody's a fan. You know what I mean? You want to put your faceplate on. We know what's going on, but it's all love no matter what you choose. You know. We ready for the football season. I'm excited to compete with you guys. We got Madden dropping their rankings, so we wanted to kind of go over real fast. Mitch and I kind of a quick discussion on how we feel about these top 10 lists. So I'm going to just go ahead and start it off with the running backs. So we have C-Mac, big C-Mac baby, 99. The great white hope. You know what's going on. My dog. Cover athlete, SF Niner, greatest trade in the last decade. Read about it.
Got them a Super. Never mind.
Got us to a Super Bowl. Got us to the playoffs. Got us winning the NFC Championship. What are the Raiders doing? What's going on, man? Crazy when your organization gives you so little, you got to talk about mine. Check on yourself. Next, we got Nick Chubb. By the way, C-Mac was a 99. I don't know if I said that or 99. Made that clear enough. He's in the 99 club, which means there are no 100s. He would be that. Okay? On to the next. Nick Chubb we have at number 2.
That's crazy.
96 after tearing his ACL. His knee was blown out last year. We're talking about like a crazy hairdo. Blown out. Gone. Everything was out of there. But I would say without that knee injury, definitely valid of a 96. Definitely valid of a top 2. I don't know if he's worth it after the injury. But Nick Chubb, you are a baller. So shout out to you. I also think that this group is number 3, we have Derrick Henry at 94. I think that's a little played as well. Derrick Henry. A
lot of old heads on this list.
For
running back terms.
Right. And he's switching teams. I think he'll be better on Baltimore. I think that, it's going to be harder to stack the box against him. But I think we are past the days of true dominance. So I think 94.
Henry, baby.
I think 94 is a little high, in my opinion. I think 91 to be fair, 90. But 94 after the season like you just had, bro. Come on, man. That's off the name. Then we have number 4, Saquon Barkley. We have him coming in with the Philadelphia Eagles. Boy, that looks disgusting seeing it. For those of you who don't know, he left the New York Giants, my cousin's team. I'm smiling when I say it because
sorry about it.
Man, there's nothing to talk about anymore. That ship has sailed. But to go to the ops like that is crazy. 92 overall. I think that's cool. I'm with that. Number 5, Joe Mixon on Houston, 91 overall. That's insane.
That's crazy.
That is insane. I had him on fantasy last year. I watched him with my own 2 eyes on TV last year. My boy is from the Bay Area, so I wouldn't lie to you. If he was a baller, I'd say he's balling. My boy is not balling.
But with this team, you got Nico Collins, you got Tank Dell, you got Stephon Diggs, you got him.
It's not like he wasn't just on the Bengals. Not like he wasn't just on the Bengals with Joe Burrow.
Joe Burrow was hurt. He was hurt.
T. Higgins and Jamar Chase, and
you seen how that offense was looking, and they was playing in cold old Cincinnati.
Prove it to me, Joey. Prove it to me, Joey.
Houston boys.
Prove it to me. Prove it to me, Joey. Anyway, next we got Travis Etienne at 90 overall. That's a stretch to me as well.
Season.
He had an okay season. I think again, he's one of those guys where
next one's sus.
Yeah, surely. I would give him that though, the 90, just off the strength of his two-way ability. He can catch the ball. Josh Jacobs, 89. That's off the strength of that's 2 years ago.
Yeah, what?
That's just the fact that he led the league 2 years ago. And the Raiders just don't have anybody else to rank highly, so they were just like,
besides Devontae,
we got to give him the 89. Yeah, that's
Crosby.
That's it.
Guys were really.
That's
really
it.
Help.
Think about how short that list
guys,
is. Think about how crazy short that list was.
Crazy.
That was nuts. It was 2 names.
All pro guys.
No, those names weren't hyphenated. Those 2 names. That was it. It's insane, man. It's insane.
2 is better than none.
It's insane, man. I don't see anybody on this list. We got more than that. The Niners topped the list. I don't want to go into it. Kenneth Walker the third at 88. I'm cool with that. I mean, when he stays on the field, he seems to be 88 worthy. Aaron Jones at 88. Oh, I mean, sure. You're like,
at this point, it's just like, all right, what are you gonna give everybody else?
Yeah, bro. I mean, it
doesn't really matter at this point. Now it just comes down to who's the fastest.
Yeah. Also, being ninth best in 88 is just like, just screams to just the low.
And I feel like he's the type to be like 89 speed too. So it's just like, that's
how
rough.
am I going to use you, bro? Yeah. Then there's Isaiah
You're
Pacheco.
more of an IRL kind of running back.
For sure. And then we have Isaiah Pacheco rounding out that top 10 at the 10 slot with 87 overall. I personally feel like he could be a little higher.
Yeah, he could be above Josh Jacobs.
I think he could be 89. So he'd be maybe my most scrutinized pick there. I think he could be boosted up. Everything else, I'm cool with. I just think the running back class this year is dookie.
Yeah. Rough. It's rough out there.
Next, we're going to go to the wide receivers. Anything else that you had to say about that? Before
I mean, it's kind of a lackluster year for running backs. We'll see if like Devin Achane can come out and have another strong season, or just some of these.
Even Raheem Mostert could have been.
Yeah, even Raheem Mostert. Who did the Cardinals just get from Texas? Benson? Is it Benson?
Yeah, Trey Benson.
Trey
also,
Benson,
what was the guy's name from the Rams?
Kyron Williams.
I thought he could have been on that list.
Yeah, he could have been on that list for how he played last season. So there's some other names that have some a little bit more prove it to get. They just had one good season so far.
What about Breece Hall?
Breece Hall should be it. He just got hurt, so he just come off injury.
Yeah, but still, I mean,
he's another somebody who could be up there in the 90s as well, the way he played. So they got some guys out there that probably going to just get upgrades throughout the season. That's how it goes with Madden. They get upgrades. They get a higher diamond card or something like that. And end up being a 99 anyway.
True. So just know we're helping y'all out early, Madden. If you listen in Madden rankings, guys, Madden rating guys,
Zamir White
the above. Yeah, there's some names there, man. You could look at. Zamir White's not one of them.
Whoa.
There's a lot of other ones.
Sleeper for all you fancy players.
For a sleeper. A real like late night sleeper.
Mm-hmm.
So let's go on to the receivers before we kick the dead donkey that is the running backs.
I thought you were gonna say the Raiders.
Both. But we have Tyreek with a 9.9.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so
need it. Speedster.
Yeah, I mean, I think he deserves it. I think it's a little crazy though, just because of some of his deficiencies. But I think his speed is so good that it's just like whatever. Justin Jefferson getting the 9.8.
For what?
I think just for the injury, but I think again that's funny that we're still. It just seems like we're inconsistent.
He's a 99.
It just seems like we're inconsistent with who we're docking for what, like for injuries, because like Justin Jefferson, it was just a lost season. But if Tyreek is a 99,
he should be a
99. Jettas is a 99.
100%. He can make every catch, run every route, like do everything.
Younger
receiver, younger. Just got it all.
Worst QB, arguably.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, people.
That's
in it. But I mean, Tyreek had Mahomes for a long time.
Yeah, for sure.
Next, we have CeeDee Lamb, 96. I'm cool with that. I'm cool with that. I feel like he's too inconsistent for me to be like higher, but his talent says he could be a 98.
This last season, he went crazy.
He went crazy. But even then, he's one of them guys where like I'll go for 200, and then I'll have a game where I'm like 63, 6 catches, 63 yards, which isn't bad.
Oh, he had like 2 touchdowns though.
But I mean, maybe. I mean, he still had weeks where I'm saying like he wasn't. I mean, I don't know.
He had like 7 weeks in a row where he had like
was
10
going
catches.
stupid. Yeah, he was going stupid.
Oh, right. He was just going crazy.
Yeah, no, he was. I think a top 3 receiver last year in fantasy terms.
Mm-hmm.
But definitely was missing in all the biggest games. Like
Right,
went missing against us, went missing against the Eagles, went missing against everybody that mattered. Detroit, nobody saw him. So anyway, I just hate the Cowboys. If you don't know this. Next, we have A.J. Brown, Philadelphia Eagles, 95, tied with Amon-Ra St. Brown, Detroit, also 95. Cool, both of those. Different kinds of receivers. I think valid. Devontae Adams is next at 94.
Let's go, baby. Raiders.
I think that could be higher. I'm not a big Raiders fan, obviously. But I respect DA.
I think it's purely because he's on the Raiders. That's
a
94.
It is. It is. I mean, it is. Because I think DA is
like a 9-7.
I think it's him and Jay Jettis in terms of if you actually want to talk about who's the bona fide best receiver. Tyreek just does something that nobody else can do. But if you were gonna hand pick another guy and what he would look like and what he would play like is between Jay Jettis and DA.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so I think for that alone, DA should be no higher than third on this list. I think because of production, I could see him being third. But I think he should be 96 at a minimum, and I think 98 is respectable to me. I think the rest of the receivers would probably give him a 98. Because a lot of these guys emulate their game off of DA's routes, off of how he plays, and just the fact that he's efficient with whoever's back there, right? So, enough said on DA. Salute that man. Jamar Chase, 93. I think that should be higher as well. I think that was a down season. I think some of that reflects injuries. Some of that reflects
Joe Burrow going down.
And just that lackluster offense in general. Yeah. But I think Jamar Chase, if CeeDee Lamb is a 96, let's be clear. Jamar Chase is a 96 for that. And no disrespect to AJ or Amon-Ra.
Right.
Next, we have Stephon Diggs coming in, the new Houston Texans receiver with a 92. I'm cool with that.
Yeah.
I feel like 92, 91 was what I was thinking for him. Didn't really have the greatest season. Still a bona fide number one. But I do think he's coming towards the back end of his prime. Sure. Next, we have a tie between my boy B.A., who, by the way, is at training camp. So, Mr. I got all the goo-wop. I need the bag. You sure aren't missing a bag. You're making sure you have practice smart, man, because those contracts end up becoming costly when you miss those practices. He's tied with Mike Evans at a 91. I personally believe this is too low. I think BA is also one of those guys who, if you look at what he did within our offense with all the other mouths to feed, I think is crazy. I think that him being with Mike Evans I respect Mike Evans. I think he's dope. But I think that that's a little crazy with the fact that this is a 25, 26-year-old receiver who truly is coming into his own, had a 13-plus 100-yard season, along with, a lot of touchdowns and a lot of clutch plays. So I personally believe, if we're looking at Diggs at a 92, give him a 93, 94. And I think he can work his way up. And then next we have Amari Coop at 90, tied with Keenan Allen at 90. And that'll round up that list right there. We may have gone 1 over 10. We may have gone 2 over 10. But there was several ties. Yeah. So we just had to acknowledge that. What do you have to say about that list? Any
I think that was a pretty good list. I think Mike Evans could be like a 92, 93. He had a great season with Baker last season. I also think, who was the other one last on the list? Last person we named?
We had Amari Coop and Keenan Allen.
Keenan Allen, steadfast pro. He's going to get you as many catches as you need.
Beast.
He's a great route runner, great hands, Cal alumni. He's consummate pro. He's great to be out there. He's going to be great for the Bears, right?
Yep.
So I think he could be like a 92, 93 as well.
Yep.
BA, I like it where he's at. Like you said,
we were going to go over. Yeah. I was trying to.
I think he was solid. Like you said, playing with somebody like Debo as a superstar, holding his own, kind of being the go-to guy when Purdy needed somebody to get a first down or get extra yards. It's good to see him getting his props.
Right, 100%. And I think he can go up this year, too, with the way this offense is set up. So no biggie on all these rankings. Good thing you brought that up because that is how Madden works. They kind of just say whatever at the start and we'll get you right as the season progresses. So we are actually out of time today. Next week, we're going to start off with kind of what we were going to end today with. But we have some great stuff coming. We're going to talk a little bit about the actual impact of some of these rookies next year. So we'll go over our 3 favorite skill positions. on offense and maybe as well on defense if we have enough time. So that'll be QB, wide receiver, running back, and then maybe we'll do D-line, linebacker, and then
corner.
DBs, in total. So we'll have that next week for you guys as well. And then we'll also have a way more in-depth NCAA football 25 update for you guys. We got some pros, we got some cons, but as we promised you guys, we're going to make sure we get a in-detail review for y'all. Yes, so we're going to play another week. Make sure we get right, and we'll be back at y'all next week.
Peace.